Hello and welcome to this Warno 2v2 tournament game. This is game 3 of a best of 3, so somebody's going home. Played as part of the DEF CON 2 quarterfinals. This is the bracket. 51st State Citizens versus Emotional Support and Hard Carry, I think it is. So yeah, it's me and Fortitude Fence versus Nocturna and tmanplays. So just briefly, we'll talk about the draft, which I have in front of me. Um, so yeah, if you haven't seen games 1 and 2, I suggest watching those. They're pretty good. And basically, there was a series of poor decisions made by everybody involved, and that leads us to the game 3. So we picked Izura. Izura is classed as a 3v3 map, but basically I think it's fine for 2v2. Essentially, people really enjoy playing maps that are too narrow, and then there's no maneuver, there's no flanking, there's no mobility, it's just kind of a grind. So it tends to, because like Death Row is classed as a 2v2 map, which is an absolute absurdity. It's narrow for a 1v1 map. But that does lend itself to certain divs being better than others, depending on the situation. Because if you're on death row, you just want a heavy tank div because there's nowhere to go, right? So you're just smacking each other in the face. So you want, the heavyweight boxer in that case. Map like this, you sort of want more wide stuff, and so these tournaments are styled NATO versus Pact for every game. But if it comes to a game 3, because it wouldn't be fair, right? Because game 1 we played NATO, game 2 we played Pact, game 3 either can pick either. Now we didn't actually read the rules properly going into this, so I didn't know that until we got here because I was like, oh, okay, we'll pick a wide map because NATO's better on the wide maps because Pact only has a few wide divisions. This is a problem Tropic Storm will help solve actually because some of those Venezuelan whatever divisions can be played quite wide. So Tropic because they've got a bunch of NATO equipment. As the game goes on, we'll get into like what do I mean by a division that can play wide, etc. But basically, Pact has nothing like this, right? It's a wheeled big gun essentially, and Pact has nothing like this, right? Which is a tracked. It's like a relatively cheap mobile recon gun, right? Pact tends to be T-72s, heavy hitters. So in a narrow engagement, Pact can do better. Um, Pact is also better in team games generally, but it depends on the map. Depends on the map. So on a wide map, NATO is better. So we ended up both going NATO, which is it's not surprising either because we're all from NATOid countries, right? Um, Although I suppose this cat came here in a spaceship or something, but we're all from NATOid countries, so we all tend to play NATOid divisions. It's not a one-to-one thing, but you'll find that the top Russian players play more Pactives just because that's where they're from. That's what they synergize with. Of course, the top British players don't play as a British divs because British divs are shit. So we picked Izura, and they banned. Oh yeah, so each of us got 3 NATO bans, 3 Pact bans, and then we picked NATO, and then they pick 1 div, we pick 2 divs, they pick 1 div. So they banned 11th US, which is the Fence Classic, Erster Land Commander, which is just broken, 2nd Panzer, which is my classic. Then they banned Corpus, which is my div, KDA, which is a Fence div, and 4th Polish, which um on the map this wide there's very few pack divs that can stand up to the sort of I just run you down every flank and the map's too wide. And Corpus is one of those. KDA is one of those to an extent, and 4th Polish is one of those. So you can see why they're banning those. We banned Div Mob because we know T-Man likes to play Div Mob, and Div Mob is really strong. MBAD because I've seen a lot of the fob guys playing MBAD, and it's the whole width thing, right? Scorpion down every road, and the 8 105s, the 8 vetted 105s, 5th Panzer because of the previous game, because of game 2, and 2nd Panzer would have been in there as well. Because yeah, I wanted to play Fifth Panzer, but I didn't realize that they got the first pick. I just didn't read the rules. It's my own fault. And then we banned 20th Polish, 79Y, and 119Y, which are just good pack divs, and we expected them to play that sort of thing. I've seen Nocturna on 20th Polish. I've seen T-Man on 119Y. 79Y is just a good pack div. And then we went NATO. They went NATO as well and picked 5E. 5E, played by I keep wanting to say Lyre. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it's got some significance, some anime bollocks. And it's good div on this map because of the whole playing wide thing. You get a bunch of medium tanks and you can cover a lot of ground. And then we picked 6 West German and 8th US. So the idea here is 5E. By the way, Pioneer Flams are completely broken. So the only Pioneer Flam divs left in the game at this point are TKS and 6E. Sorry, 6th West German. 6th West German's better. 6th West German can cover a lot of ground because its tanks are cheap. Its tanks are cheap and short range, which lends itself to these kind of situations where they're always going to be in range. I've got the Pioneer Flam. I've got the nice bombers because 5E doesn't have good AA. Well, it's got Roland 3s, which are decent, but against the F-104G, you need an Eyehawk. So then they pick Jaiski, probably because they need the Eyehawks for the F-104Gs. Apart from that, I think this is a terrible pick. It's not a good pick. I think they would have been better off picking 2nd US Marine, which is decent in team games. It can work in 1v1 if you get a narrow map. In a team game, it kind of works because your teammate can cover your flanks and stuff. Although this map is quite wide, so maybe not 2nd Marine. They needed something with Eyehawks. Other options that are like 4th Dutch, because basically they don't. An M1A1 Abrams is just going to kill everything they have, right? So basically the idea was Fence goes heavy, he's got the Eyehawks, the heavy RT. I go light and I cover the ground. If you watch us play, we basically do that every time. But yeah, Jaiski I don't think is a very good division, frankly. It can work. It's just you run out of infantry. I remember saying to Fence, they're going to run out of infantry, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's the draft. Looking at the deployments, so the map, the way the map works, right, is that there's a +2 here, and there's a +2 here, and those are the middle contested points, right? And then there's 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points each that are 1-pointers, right? The way it seems to work is that on this side, blue gets to Lima before red because of this forest. Also, I have airborne forward deployment and he doesn't, so I guess I would have got there first anyway. On this side, red gets to Bravo before blue. Having played this map a couple times now. So it was in the last DEFCON tournament, and I was on this side. I was this player on this side, and my opponent, who shall remain nameless, took Lima, and then we got into an argument it's like months later, and they're like, "Yeah, well, I took my zone off you," and now that I'm on this side, I just immediately realize, wait a minute. No, of course you did. You have such a huge advantage. You just get there first. Anyway, because the point is that red gets to Bravo first. So yeah, 5E deployment, some AMX-10 RCs I've got to be very careful of, because I don't have anything like that. He's got a couple of Rolands. Frankly, I think they put the guys the wrong way round. I think they put the guys the wrong way around. I think Jaiski should have been here because Jaiski's tanks don't have the max range. And here, you don't need the max range. You're basically always in range, right? There's a hill here. There's a hill, so you can't actually... Oh no, it's because of these forests, never mind. So because of these little patches of trees, you're always in the minimum tank gun range, 1925, more or less. So the 1925 player should have been here. Also, F-104Gs versus Eyehawks. And the 5E player should have been here, where he can use the max range tanks, right? Can use the AMX-10 RC Sublinde things, because the map's more open here. In general, they're going for like a fast momentum kind of game, because we've got one heavy div and one light div, whereas they've got one light div and one medium div. But yeah, I think they did it the wrong way around. They did say they hadn't played the map before. So yeah, then he's protected his flanks because he's worried about people coming around the side, which is exactly what I'm trying to do, so that's not surprising. And Eclair's AMX-10RC, two roll threes because of the threat of the F-104Gs, chasseurs, and so on. I've noticed he's bringing them in the cars, not in the VABs. The VABs are really useful because there's so much space here. You can just try and sneak VABs through places, try and get behind maybe. I don't know, I guess he just wants to sell them so he can buy more infantry. Then we're basically moving into the T-man territory now. So he's got two Eyehawks, his own recon tanks. Like their deployment is better than ours because of these. Both of them have got these recon tanks. I've got this, which goes at 130, but it's a Milan 2, and because the sight lines are so short, there's very few. Like look at where I'm putting it, just to get a chance to shoot somebody coming down this road. Because if I get it any closer, the tank gun's just... Well, the tank gun would be in range anyway, I think. Yeah, just about. So, they're not that useful in this situation. And then, yeah, a bunch of Panzer Infanterie, Carl Gustav, HE guys, which I guess that's why he picked... So, Jaiski will have been for the super forest fighting because of the Carl Gustav HEs and the Eyehawks and the recon tanks. Switch into our deployment. We got Fence on the left, Hippie on the right. If we were like cooler, we would, I don't know, try and like 2v1 somewhere and then 2v1 somewhere else. But we played a lot of 2v2 tournaments. I think we've been in more 2v2 tournaments than any other team. Because this has been going on for a long time. And we found that basically it was better to just play lanes and then you know, if he gets 2v1'd, I'll come help him. If I get 2v1'd, he'll come help me. So, yeah, for Fence's side, we got these M150s, which I spoke about in Game 1 on Stoneware. They're very good for just covering wide amounts of ground, because it's got mediocre stealth, it's got 50 cal, and it's got... the TOW 1 is crap, but the point is that you will slow down the enemy, they'll have to smoke, maybe it hits them. If it's like a fox or something, it's going to lose, right? If it's something heavier like this, then yeah, you'd expect the fox to lose. This you'd expect to win. It's interesting he's going all the way around the side. Oh, Fence didn't think of that. Okay. Obviously, when I was playing, I was focusing more on my side, right? But yeah, this is basically all my stuff. This is all Fence's stuff. So he's got two M60s. M60 is pretty good against the Danish tanks. In fact, this is like the most cost-effective tank in the game. Very good tank, the M60A3. Ranger's Dragon. So yeah, Dragon 2s can be useful here as well because of the ranges, right? The ranges, not the rangers. Got the Lux, but obviously if a Lux runs into an AMX-10RC, it loses. So yeah, I'm just trying to get just like a little bit forwards, right? I mean, the middle of the map's about here. Here, I know that if I come down this road, I'm probably going to get shot in the open by an AMX-10RC, and indeed, there are AMX-10RCs everywhere. So I'm being a bit conservative, actually, here. And here, I put this there so it could shoot down the road. You see. But even then, I think the tank would win that fight. So we got the Kampfschwimmers behind. It's an anti-infantry team, mortar for smoke, and a bunch of leopard ones. And Kanj PZs brought to that because they're a mediocre stealth gun, right? It's a tank destroyer, and I figure here it'll be pretty useful because of the high rate of fire. The pen will be pretty high because of this close range. And it's got, 6 armor, which is actually more than this. So let's cast the game. Right, so we're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They're the reason these videos are possible. I'd like to thank you all for watching these videos. But yeah, without the generous channel joiners, there would not be any videos, because I'd have to go get a job, be a contributing member of society. So thank you. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. They also get a Steam key for my game Hearst Hero, which is coming out on the 30th of July, which is very soon. By the time you're seeing this, it might already be out. So these SEP guys, the ones in Erster don't have AT. These are actually really useful on this map because they've got the SMGs, which are useful in these close range situations. They've got the smoke, they've got the AT, and they've got ground surveillance radar, which is useful in the open spaces. So it is actually like a very, very good unit. The Erster Land Commando SEP has AA, which is useful against like heli rushes and stuff. Neither of us are really playing heli rush divs. Nobody here is. Fifth 5E can do, so yeah, he spots that. 5E can do a Gazelle rush, like all the Gazelle pots and so on. That's why I brought this Roland 3. So my Roland 3s are like his, but mine's wheeled, so it costs more because it's faster. But his is armoured. And it depends, like if you, so the first loss there for me, I suppose he lost a transport, I'm not sure it really counts. If you're bad at the game, you don't use the speed. If you're good at the game, then speed matters. So these Black Hawks are useful. You'll notice he's not selling them. Or at least he shouldn't be selling them, because they come in handy later. And yeah, these Carl Gustav guys are really good in the forests. The thing is that Flash beats them, because Flash fires faster, Engineer's Flash, and it starts a fire under you, which makes you move. Whereas this HE one doesn't always start that fire. It does sometimes. So you see, he is actually losing. T-Man using the M113 there for the fire support, and look, it's doing a lot of damage. So he's got 1 AT, 1 anti-infantry. But yeah, Flash wins the forest fight, as does Pioneer Flam. So I was getting shot here by the Sublindes, so I shoot smoke at him. And he immediately buys the Alpha 1 to kill the smoke mortar. So that's smart. I saw this coming in over here, and I thought, well, look, I was trying to get around him. But he saw me. But yeah, on the other side, T-Man's doing the same thing. And, Fence doesn't have anybody here, so that's a big issue. So yeah, Jaiski also gets like nice bombers, F-16 bombers. It's not a bad division, it's just, I feel like there's always a better pick. It's good for the Eyehawks, and like I understand why he picked it. But, like, would you not rather be 2nd Marine in this instance? You'd be a little bit weaker at the start because you don't have the forward deployment. But your tanks would have the same range, but they'd have 23 pen. You'd still have S'mores for in here, and the Dragon, and the Cat Fae. The Cat Fae is really good. That's but yeah, you see the Engineer's Flash, you'd expect to win this fight because they both shoot each other, right? But the Flash makes you move, whereas the Carl Gustav, it did hit him, or it shot, but it doesn't make you move. And once you start moving, neither of these weapons fire. So then the Flash wins, right? Because it can still shoot and you can't shoot. And it's the same, one of the main reasons I picked 6th West German was because for the Pioneer Flam, for the same reason. So, yeah, he buys the double Alf 1. Now, I was quite surprised he wasn't attacking me. Generally when we've played against each other. So, see, sort of same thing here, so anti-tank team, anti-infantry team. The Pioneer Flam really are kind of stupid at the moment. But in these tournaments, everybody's abusing something, right? There's no... especially once you get to this stage. Anybody who, quote-unquote, just plays for fun tends to have been wiped out by now. So, I've got some roller 3s, but... So he gets the Pioneer Flam, which I actually brought down vetted. But yeah, the roller 3s... I don't know, I think the building must have blocked the line of sight or something. Anyway, I'm trying to counter battery him, but his RT is a lot better than mine. I think that must have been a big part of his strategy, get the big RT up. But yeah, I've sort of flooded this with these close-range tanks. He's just kind of sat there. We'll check back in on that. In the meantime, T-Man's quite successful here. You see, actually, Fence has bought his RT and T-Man's bought his RT as well, so There is, and I bought my RT. I think generally that was a mistake from all concerned, because imagine if instead of spending 2 minutes income on out of ones, and you know, another minute's income on these, imagine if that was 3 minutes income just here, and you just come down here, you just take all this, and you get to here, right? Because I don't have anything there. And the same is true of the other side, right? The reason I bought this was to try and counter battery his out ones, which would just kill my mortar, right? So I've invested the least in RT thus far, so I'm therefore the best person. But I'm sure you understand what I mean. Obviously, you know, when you view it from my perspective, I don't see any of this. I know it's there, because it's like, well, what else would be there? Also, when I move forwards, I get shot. So I'm trying to push up here. I'm trying to push here, but, you know, he's got one anti-tank, one anti-infantry, right? And he had the same here. So now I'm trying to push over here. So I've got the Pioneer Plan down bedded. You see I've moved up the Rolands so that if that Jaguar comes in, I can be in the right place. I've now got 4. This ends up being a bit of an issue later. But, hello, Hippie? Yeah. In the meantime, Fence is doing pretty good here, although his Ito's probably going to die. He's got a lot of guys just kind of chilling here, but I guess he's unloaded them or whatever. So, Fire Team 84 plus Engineers Flash. See, look, so he... Once again, the Carl Gustav fires, the Flash fires. That was the Kiowa. So he likes using these. And look at that, like it's already paid for itself just from that. The issue it has is that one AA can kill it in one hit. And it costs a lot of money. So I don't like using it for that reason. But look at that, it just killed 3 tanks. It's going to kill an M113 maybe. But it can die. But you'll notice he put the Hog in front, so that the AA shoots the Hog instead of the Kiowa. If the AA is in range of both, I'm not sure which one it goes for, but basically you'd assume the Hog would trigger the AA before the Kiowa does, and that lets you know, oh, and then this can survive an AA hit from a manpad. This can't, because it's 4 HP, right? Little helicopter, so he uses them very well, but you've really got to pay attention to use those. I don't like using them because I always lose them to something dumb, but they do have their utility. In the meantime, I'm very obsessed with trying to get around the side here, and I'm just waiting for him to attack, because I'm on the +2, but he's just not attacking. I guess it's because I keep pushing the flanks, so he has to reinforce all these flanks. Obviously, I don't know what's going on in his head, but that's... yeah, and I'm trying to counter battery these, but it's just not working. They're better than mine quite a bit, but like even with the CV next to mine, it aims slower than his. But obviously his costs are like 100 points more, so it makes sense, doesn't it? You get a new chair, man. In the meantime, I bought the seed plane, and I flew it around here because I figured he'd have Eyehawks. And he does, but they're switched off. He actually brought 2 cards of Eyehawks. Ends up being a bit of a problem for us later. That Jaguar HE bomber comes back again. This time I've got the 2 Rolands, but look, that's not in range. But I've got 2 more Rolands. This one's too far back, really. That is my fighter, which I just monged out. This Roland doesn't shoot. I lose a fighter. Man, watching this back is hard, you know. Anyway, so we spotted that, and he went and killed it with his Kiowa. So that went down. And yeah, it just comes down to this idea that, like, so the point of Jaiski is that it can sort of play wide. And he got here first, in the same way that I got here first. But as the 8th player builds up, well, what's Jaiski going to do against an M1 Abrams? It has to use the RT or the Air Force, I guess, or just try and side-shot it with a bunch of stuff, which he has. He has a bunch of stuff here for side-shots. But 8th excels at this kind of attritional fighting. Meanwhile, I don't understand why they're not attacking here. This is a +2. It's the closest +2, right? So why aren't they just 2v1ing over, or even just one? He's not doing anything. And the only explanation I can think of is that basically because I keep pushing him here, he keeps having to reinforce all this. So it pays to keep the pressure on, because it stops your enemy from thinking. It does get a lot hairier for us in a second. It's not snooze fest. So yeah, in the meantime, Fence, you know, he's blobbing up the flash with an AT4 with it for when you run into a tank. And he's struggling here, but isn't he struggling to take the ground? I think he's trading quite favourably at the moment. So yeah, I was just sort of like, I'm trying to push this out because I figure, well, look, if I can get in, also I can keep threatening the flank, keep forcing him to invest on the flanks, which means he doesn't have time to do a push here. But like, he has units that he could, you know, send out and do something with. Like, he could just come down here. These two, if they came to here, like, he could take this with what he has there. And then obviously I'd try and counter push him. I'd bring these up and so on. So F104G versus Roland 3, and the thing is, I've got the seed plane behind, so he can't actually shoot me. And I got the Roland, I think, with the seed plane. Sadly, the 50% ECM seed plane gets hit. So the reason the F104G could get its bombs off there, because otherwise the Roland 3s would kill me, is because of the seed plane. It forced him to have them switched off. So that's how you do air. In the meantime, I am trying to push all these other places, right? And then these two decide to attack, like, because you see ping there. So look, same story, right? It's the middle of the map. I know he's got Rollins over here. So I mean, I killed my own guy, but he was going to lose that fight anyway. I did try and get him out of the way, but the explosion's pretty big. So then they decide to both attack Echo, which is a +1. This is a +2. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm trying to avoid this counter battery, but his I suppose this CV should really be next to those, and then they'd aim even faster, but you see, it takes too long for me to pack up. I am trying to force the issue here. I'm just pushing everywhere, because the way I see it, if he does attack me here, I'm going to lose it. So I need to just keep the pressure on, keep him guessing, and look, he's, you know, now he's got 2 tanks here, and he's had to buy a tank here, and a Milan 2 here, and so on, and so on, and so on. And that means he can't build up for the attack. So it's not entirely, haha, my enemy dum-dum. It's just, you know, trying to make things work. Same story there, Seed plus F104 to keep the Roll 3 switched off. Anyway, then I Mong out. This time the 50% ECM works. And so now, so their plan is to attack here. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Why don't they attack here where the +2 is? They've got the AA set up. The only thing I can think is because the Eyehawks, they're worried about getting air spammed, so they have to fight under the Eyehawks. But T-Man's got 2 cards of Eyehawks, so he could have just put a couple Eyehawks here and they could have pushed. The distance is less because this is in the middle and this is the back zone. And look at how defensible this is. You've got all these buildings, and then you have another row of buildings, and then you have a 3rd row of buildings. So they're attacking in the hardest place in the map to attack. In the meantime, I'm like, Fence, don't worry bro, I'm helping. And I'm attacking over here while they're sort of pile driving this. So Fence is shooting a bunch of smoke at him. Now this is actually, sometimes it really fucks you over, but it's useful in that it forces them out, because if they're firing from a tree line, right, the idea is you shoot that tree line, then they have to come out in the open, and then you kill them as they come through the smoke one at a time. Obviously 3 AMX-30 B2s is going to beat an M1A1 anyway. Look how well he's rotating his tanks. He's not losing his tanks, and he's getting the side shots. If they're just back here shooting the mech rifles, he can't side shot them with the M60s and so on. So that's, yeah, T-Man and Nocturna there. I'm using the F104Gs to try and snipe the exposed targets. I think my seed plane was repairing. We were at the edge of the range there. You notice he switches them off and moves them. Switches them off and moves them, which means that he can't shoot this. But yeah, I should have waited, because like both of my seed planes are down. I did actually buy 2, which slows down the momentum a lot, but it's been 16 minutes. And so if he'd left that on, he probably would have killed it, but he was worried about the seed plane coming, so that's what I've been doing. And he had like an exposed unit here, so I went for that. So in the meantime, I keep saying that, they've spotted me. I'm attacking Golf to draw the pressure off this, right? I do have some units coming here, so Leopard 1s and stuff. But generally, you know, my div is lighter than every other div in this game. And in a sort of grindy blob fight like this, I'm always going to come out 2nd or 4th in this case. Still trying to push this issue. So I can contribute, you know, the infantry for the 2nd line and so on, but I can't really do too much. Anyway, they send out... So these are the Jaguars from before. This is why I've got the Roland here. I do get a Jaguar. This thing is really good. I bring it vetted, I think. No, it got a vet from killing the plane. But because there's so many here, usually I bring it vetted, but this time I didn't, so I could have 6. Because I've got 5 here, I've only got 1 here, and there was no more to buy, which ended up being a big mistake, because I'm losing stuff to the air, and I've only got 1 Roland. So yeah, I've managed to smoke my way into this zone. I know I can't really stay there, but I'm just sort of forcing the issue, right? Because then we've got nice flanks on them. You'll note, like, one of their tanks just beats any of my tanks. The idea is I bring 2, and then there you go. That's a perfect showcase. 1v1 I lose, 2v1 whatever. Anyway, so they sniped my Roland, and I was like, how did that happen? The guns stunned me. If the guns hadn't stunned me, maybe I could have hit it. I don't know, it is what it is. You can see that because of this. I didn't actually know about that. I was just like, he must have just seen me reverse or something. So yeah, they are air bullying me. And that's because I have 5 Rolands here. Like, what? He's not even firing his arty, he's not got the CV next to it. I just don't understand why they're not attacking here instead of here. They've literally picked the hardest place in the game to attack, and they're attacking there. So, I'm sacrificing the bombers to try and kill that tank. Because 2 F-104Gs should kill it, 1 won't. And I sent the seed out, and the seed got 2-tapped by the Ihawks, which is very unfortunate. But if I'd microed it better, it never should have been exposed to this one. So it is unfortunate that that happened, but that never should have been exposed to that. The F-104Gs were here, so the seed should have been here, curl this way, right? Get that Ihawk or miss it and come out. Instead, I exposed myself to 3 Ihawks due to my own stupidity. Anyway, so I'm air spamming. He moved his Ihawk though. This has 40% ECM, but the seed killed the other Ihawk because one of them was moving and the other was switched on. So I'm air spamming to try and contribute to, because the way I see it, the Ihawks are back here, the guys are up here. And like I said, my ground units aren't really very good. The later this game goes on, the less useful I am compared to every other div here. But the more useful so that's why we drafted it that way. They've gone for 2 kind of medium-esque divs. We've gone for 1 light div, 1 heavy div. So Fence will fill that gap with M1A1 Abrams. And even the M60A3 beats that Brennus thing. It beats the B2 AMX-30, doesn't beat the Brennus. They cost about the same. The B2 is better against infantry because of the autocannon, and it's like super fast. You gotta pay for. So yeah, I'm not expecting this to work out, but I can see his dude, and so I'm gonna try and snipe his dude. And we know many of the Ihawks have died and so on, but he had 2 cards, which okay, it makes sense, right? So there you go, so I get another Ihawk, and these are red eyes, and he doesn't vet them, so expecting those to hit anything is like, it's a complete waste of time. If you're going to bring it, you should vet it. Despite that, I do get hit twice. I guess there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. So yeah, this isn't... I just sniped the CV to try and just get a few more points on the board, and to draw the... Like, because look, now they have to come over here, because I'm just sat in there. I should have brought a smoke mortar. I'm just shit. He's got smoke, but I could have smoked more of this and he would have survived a bit longer. I mean, the Grenadiers would have eventually caught up with him, but I could have kept the Pioneer Flam with him. I could have done a better job there, basically. But this attack stalled out, partially due to the work of, well, mainly due to Fence, right, with his tanks and so on. You notice he's not actually losing them, he's pulling them back when they get low. And, yeah, so they take that back. Still no attack on the exposed 2-pointer. I mean, to be honest, I am ready for them. There's quite a lot in here. Quite a lot of close-range tanks in here. You know, if they come across here, they're going to get shot by a lot of things. So maybe that's why these aren't firing. He's actually bought some more. So yeah, this is the Brenner, so it's 165. It's got 19 pen. So it would beat this. It's only got 15 pen. Yeah. But yeah, the M60's super useful in this matchup because they only have one card that can actually do anything about them. Well, this can fight. Like, it's got more pen, actually. Actually, yeah, that's why it's got more pen. It would actually win the tank fight, I think. The advantage of the M60 is that it can survive a TOW 2, but whereas this would die to a Milan 2. It depends what you want in a tank. I forgot it had 17 pen, so actually in one B2 versus one M60, the B2 should win. But he's very good against these Danish, my bad. Did you know they invented Lego? Meanwhile, his leopards beat my leopards because they're better. Trying to get some like side shots on him, right? Anyway, still, yeah. So that like, I'm not sure what happened there. Like, he wouldn't unload. I pressed unload. I mean, he did get out eventually, but yeah. It turns out he can see all the way through this forest, so me hiding in the back doesn't work very much. But yes, this I think is better against infantry for the autocannon. It's mainly just the survivability aspect, that's why the M60... I got that completely wrong. This would win the tank fight. Yeah, my bad. These are firing now. Still no attack here. And you'll notice I'm reinforcing it, because I'm like, well, look, they're going to attack there at some point. I need to keep reinforcing it. So the Dekung Scrupper's anti-infantry and the Vernished Scrupper's anti-tank. And each of them is 5 points cheaper than the standard Panzer Grenadier squad. So if you can micro, buying one each of those is better than just buying 2 Panzer Grenadiers because you save 10 points. Oh, that's not good. Mate, that ain't great. Anyway, I couldn't help him with the AA because all of my Rolands are over here preparing for this big attack, which hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I think he probably shouldn't have attacked there, but obviously we can see everything and he probably can't see anything right now, so. On the left here, I'm not going to say in the meantime, those can't see each other, there must be like a little hill here. Yeah, there is. The flash beats the guys. Rangers, by the way, are like cracked right now, because the carbines got buffed alongside the SMGs. A little bit of friendly fire there, whatever. Even though he would have won that fight. Okay, whatever. So yeah, big arty duels going on. I can't really compete on the arty side. I've got some 105s. My 155's got sniped. I might have one left, but we definitely saw one die. I'm buying Gepards here because I can't buy any more Roland 3s. I only get one card of those, I think. Fence has all 3 Eyehawks out now. And yeah, they've pushed me out of here. Not sure why that guy was there. I guess he was on his way in. So they've pushed us back, and they've stopped the tick. So I'm still trying to get around the sides. So here comes the Beaupards for the sides. You'll notice he doesn't sell his Blackhawk, so that the Kiowa... Because this actually has 10% ECM, it's actually got more HP than the Cobra. So you send it out in front of the Kiowa, right? And the Kiowa can snipe stuff. So, yeah, he's not moving his arty. Nobody here seems to have MLRS. The M270HE is probably good now. I haven't tried it since the, because it got buffed again. So now it's got 10% more damage, but it's got 20% more splash radius, which means like a 44% splash area increase. So that is, it's worth talking about, worth testing. It's good that, you know, the arty is not shit anymore. So it used to be that there was only two types of arty that were good. 155s and 203s, and that was it. And obviously the smoke mortars, right? But not for HE, just for smoke. So, yeah, the way I see it, the zone's back here. And I can't fight him in the open because his tanks are... Certainly the B2, I don't have anything that can fight that. The Leopard 1s I can sort of fight with my own Leopard 1s, but... Fence has got that out to try and hit those B2s. So I'm trying to hide behind these buildings and stuff. Just wait, because the zone's hit. And, you know, we've got Pioneer Flam behind the building. Fence has all the Mech Rifles Dragon, which are useful in this case because, you know, once they get close enough, the Dragons are going to shoot them. So, in the open. But they're still married to this idea that they got to attack the hardest place in the game to attack with all these buildings. There's nowhere else on the map like that. This is open. And, you know, this is... I suppose I can defend it from the forest. So I smoke here to try and get 180, 1 anti-infantry in. So I want to go hunt that AMX 10 RC. I've got to be careful of the old... Fence giving me some of that. Mech rifles there. A bomber might come and kill me. But the point is I'm just constantly trying to probe the flanks because that's my div's advantage. So I'm not sure if I spotted that with the seed or if Fence just spotted that or if... Anyway, we killed Nighthawk. So the arty game is not going well for us because really only Fence can do anything. He's gone for 4 M109s instead of 2 203s. I think that's probably a good idea here because you need volume. Anyway, you see I'm trying to get around the side, right? They have, I mean, I guess he saw me, but he's not reacted. So I've got a Bopar going around because I'm trying to snipe the arty. The way I see it, well, their arty is better, so we need to try and kill it, otherwise we're going to get arty'd to death. And they, you know, they're almost in. So, but you know, then the Pioneer Flam get triggered, and there's just so many fallback positions here. That Kiowa thing he's doing a good job with. So it is useful, but in 1v1, people just chuck a jet at it. And I suppose they could just do that here. And the Eyehawk would probably kill the jet, but this is 2 per card, and you tend to have more jets. Oh, he's doing it! He's going for the infantry. Those get one-shot by Eyehawks, which Fence now has all 3 of, I think. But that rocket plane was the bait for the HE planes, but then he sort of monged out, and then I mong out. So everybody's monging. What can I say? F-16 pilots, clearly not the smartest. And, yeah, Seed's out again behind my fighter to try and get the Eyehawk. I do get the Eyehawk. He buys more Eyehawks. The Bopar is about to reach the arty. The KS Iltis Milan is also going for the arty. That didn't drop for whatever reason. Probably my fault. And, yeah, so 5E has long-range fighters, and 8th US has long-range fighters, but me and T-Man do not have long-range fighters, so, you know, when you're trying to protect against these airwaves, it helps to have a fighter up. It's something a lot of people forget, including ourselves at this particular moment. But my fighters are close range, so they don't really help too much anyway, because they'd have to expose themselves to the Eyehawks, as it did, but I did micro that one. In the meantime, I know I keep saying that today, this guy just wants to kill these over the... Because this has mediocre stealth. He can't actually see the arty, he can only see the trucks. So he's wasting all his ammo on the trucks, instead of on the arty. They're still not attacking the exposed 2-pointer. Grinding this massive town is apparently the way forwards. Very, very committed to this massive town grind. And... yeah, like, once they get past the town, well, then there's another layer, right? And look, we've just got so much crap in here, so So once he runs out of hots to shoot at the flipping everything other than the arty, he eventually goes on the arty, and we get 2 arty pieces. We could have got all 4, but that's what this guy's for, I guess. I did try and bring this AA with him, but I just sort of forgot and left it in the forest. I'm trying to do the same on this side, trying to get to the Alf ones. They can just kill me, though, because of the direct fire. So yeah, I run out of ammo, and then I just go back. Like, they're not, I don't know, they're not looking, they're just not looking, so... yeah. So, lots of helicopters, the bows, I bring 2 cards of those. One's hot 1, one's hot 2 or something. Would the hot 1 be sufficient to kill? No, it wouldn't. It would kill 8 armor. It would not kill 9 armor. So, yeah, and then we've got the Jaguar 2s. It's very hard for them to move up here. They could be smoking, because they have better arty than us. Well, okay, I've just killed... I'm in the process of killing all their arty. But... oh, there's a smoke mortars. So... I don't know what to say, really. It's like, now they're attacking here. But, like, why didn't they do that 20 minutes ago? Anyway, I really wish I'd not forgotten this AA. Oh, yeah, I tried to go down the road instead of sneaking around here, and this just killed me. So that's what happened to the AA. Whereas this, I went all the way around this. Because, look, now they send Gazelle Hots, and I can't do anything. So, yeah, we killed the 4 arty pieces, and we're going for the next 4. And, yeah, I'm just constantly trying to probe this, right? So we got the AMX... No, we didn't. He just reversed it. So he's pushed me out of here. I can't really move up here because the flipping... the tanks cover the road. So, so yeah, this is me trying to find the AMX Alpha 1s. I should have reversed this behind a house, but I'm probably looking at the left. Because if that was behind that, because like, it just dies. Autocannons sort of got over-nerfed, but I didn't help myself there. Like, a KPVT does more damage than an autocannon now, so that's... This happened a long time ago, but... Anyway, I'm on my way back. I'm a hero, Mr. Camarade, after killing 4 AA pieces. Look, he's invincible. This must be the 2-vet. Doesn't increase ECM on helicopters, that's for planes. So I'm trying to find this RT. I'm out of bullets and I don't have any AA, so I'm just on an attack move order, so I get an empty transport. Still trying to find that RT. And yeah, the assault here is kind of petered out. You'll see the KDs at the end, but Fence traded very favourably against this, which makes a lot of sense. I guess all these CEVs must be dead or something. We did see him buy a few over here. Oh, yeah, we were trying to sneak a CEV all the way around the side. And they're still not attacking here on the 2-pointer. So I am... Was I pushing them or were they pushing me? Anyway, you see, I can't really fight him in the open. Although I'm not helping myself, am I? Oh, we get 1. But yeah, why isn't this guy helping? I can't see this, by the way. So... And he's got recon right there, and I don't have recon here, so... So yeah, they are counter-pushing me here. And you see the... See, it's the cool part about playing on maps that aren't... So once again, I'm trying to scout the Eyehawks. All the Eyehawks are dead now, it's just rolling 2s and Hamlets, which can't be seeded. So yeah, that's the beauty of playing on a wide map, is that yes, you have the massive... You can do a massive grind if you want, or you can, you know, disperse your forces, try and fight somewhere else, and try and use your mobility. It just makes a lot more divisions useful. I'm like, Fence, mate, there's no AA here except Hamlets. I remember saying that at this point. That's why I'm flying that right over, because it's got the ECM and he's got the A10. And so I figure, you know, just make sure the A10 can do its thing, because now the plan is to attack this 2-pointer. You know, the 2-pointer? Attack the 2-pointer instead of the 1-pointers. You know, because it's worth twice as much. Anyway. See how we're going in. This thing has very nice ECM, and we finally killed all the Ihorts, so a combination of artillery and bombers and so on. 2 seaplanes do eventually get them all. So now we're counter-pushing here. And they do have some defensive units, but... Whoa! Uh-oh. Well, that sucks. These hamlets, man, I would always vet them. I would always 2-vet them. I tried to snipe that CV, but I missed. Thankfully, I do not kill Fence's double ranger stack there. That would be embarrassing. Okay. So he's got the A10s out just because, you know, we've cleared all the AA, so now the A10's useful. Crazy how that works. But they apparently had a lot of planes. There used to be a tank there, but the A10 got it. And so we're counter-pushing here. I mean, at this point, the game's over, right? So, in terms of, like, our stunning victory, I mean, we played well, and it was cool to defend this. But basically, their plan was really bad. They should have attacked the 2-pointer. And they probably would have won. So now you've got the last second smoke thing, but, like, we're definitely in here. And, you know, we can even go for this one. Like, they expended themselves attacking the most difficult part of the map to attack. They did say they hadn't played the map before, but I've only played it once. And, in a tournament. And that wasn't with Fence, that was with Tiberius Rancor, so I don't think Fence has played it before in a tournament either. So yeah, he's in the corner, haha, haha, etc, etc, but... They should have just... Imagine all of that shit that died in that field. Here. We would have lost that zone. But then we would have counter-pushed here. So that's, you know, that is what it is. So, as you can see, my KD was bad. And Fence's KD was pretty good. So there you go. Hippie got carried and should shut up. Yeah. I don't understand why they didn't attack the 2-pointer, right? Just sat on the 2-pointer. They didn't attack it for the whole game. So yeah, in terms of the bracket, we will now advance to play against France Grenenon, which is Helljumper and Crep, the French brothers. And that'll be linked in the description. It's another best of 3 series in the semi-finals, right? So yeah, GG. But I think it just came down to, like, Jaiski's not a good pick, and the plan was not good. I'll see you around.